What's going on, you guys? This is New York Adventure in 1994 here, and today is Thursday, January 4th, 2024, and I want to talk about the blizzard bomb cyclone that happened 6 years ago today, but before I do, I want to get to the beginning of the story and talk about what happened 2 weeks in advance, and then I will work my way to that time. Because a lot more happened before the blizzard hit us 6 years ago today. And believe it or not, we were also in a cold wave and we had a winter classic and I got sick during the storm. So there's a lot to talk about. So I want to get to December 22nd, 2017. I remember that all my classes in 11th grade actually had a school Christmas party, and we were watching movies and stuff, and we had bagels, all that other stuff. Yeah, all my 11th grade classes had like a party. Like, we were watching videos and movies, and we were having bagels, and there was this annual volleyball tournament that took place on the last full day of school of the year. As I was saying, we had our annual volleyball tournament in the high school gym, which always takes place on the last day of the year before break kicks off. And I went to the gymnasium to watch that. And then Saturday comes, it's Christmas Eve. Nothing really happens that day. And then Sunday, it was Christmas Eve, and my aunt came over, and we watched the Giants get destroyed by the Arizona Cardinals, and we hung out with my family for a few hours before it was 11 o'clock at night, and then Christmas morning comes, and then we open our presents, and we watched the Disney Christmas parade. Yeah, this was the last time we opened up our presents. This was actually the last Christmas we actually opened our Christmas presents on Christmas morning, since we open them up at nighttime on Christmas Eve nowadays since 2015. Like 2015 and 16, we opened up our gifts at night, and then we skipped one year because something was going on, and then we got back into it again, where we opened our presents on Christmas Eve, and then we did it every other year since then. But 2017 and 2014 were like the last 2 years that we waited till Christmas morning to open up our gifts. Yeah, so we opened up our gifts on Christmas morning, and I was hanging out with my family again. I was hanging out with my family again on Christmas morning, and that night I was playing my new NHL 18 game for the Xbox One. And then that Tuesday, December 26th rolls around. That is Kwanzaa, and I went to Farmingdale, New York with my friend Robbie, and we saw Star Wars The Last Jedi, Episode 8. Yeah, they were making the sequel trilogy of Star Wars franchise during that time, and we went to the theater and we saw Star Wars The Last Jedi, and then we went to Applebee's, and then we hung out back in the house for a few hours. Nothing really happens the next 3 days, and then Friday comes around and my mom has one of her friends over. It's like friends we don't really see anymore. I don't really see her kids anymore, so that's not really important. And then moving right along, we had some snow on December 30th, and it lasted for a few hours, and then the ground got all icy, and then December 31st rolls around, and then it's New Year's Eve. we had our annual we had our New Year's Eve party, and we watched the ball drop, and then it was January 1st, 2018. And I gotta tell you, the last 2 weeks during that year, the temperature just like dropped to like the single digits and the teens. It was like really cold for like 2 weeks. We were in the 2017-18 cold wave, and that was like an example of how cold this winter truly was that year. The 2017-18 winter was really a cold one. And that cold wave that happened during the break was like an example of how cold the winter was. And then we woke up on New Year's Day. After we slept in, after seeing the ball drop, and I watched the Winter Classic of the Rangers play against the Buffalo Sabres at Citi Field. And the people there were really freezing. It felt like 15 degrees over there because of how cold it was. It was like 15 degrees, and all the fans over there were freezing their butt off. It was like really cold to be there. It was really cold for all the fans over there. I saw a lot of people were freezing, and they were like bundled up very, very well. Yeah, it was not fun being at Citi Field for those fans. Thankfully, I didn't go there. I'm glad I did not go to the Winter Classic, because that would have been a pain, and I would not really have fun there because I would have been freezing. I would have been more focused on the cold than I would have been with the game. That's how bad it was. And then it led to a lot of people being sick, including me. And then January 2nd comes, my break is over, and then it's my first day of school of the whole year of 2018. And then January 3rd came around, and then I started feeling a little ill. I started going under the weather. It's like the winter weather got to me. And there was like this cold that was going around, and I won't be surprised if it was actually coming from some people that went to the Winter Classic in my town. I don't know a single person that did, but I think someone might have went there. But there was like this cold ring around Long Island, and the news was like warning us of a blizzard that was coming. It was the first blizzard of 2018. And it really came. We were like locking and loading last minute. And I was like in bed, coming down with something. I remember I actually had to leave school early that day, believe it or not. Like right after my study hall period. Because I had to go to the doctor's and I had to get some blood work done. And then we got home, I had my McDonald's, but I couldn't finish my meal because I was coming down with something. And my mom like agreed to keep me home the next day, whether the storm comes or not. Like whether school's closed or it's still on, I was staying home either way. And then here's where I left off. And then the news was like warning us that it's really a blizzard that was coming, and we were under a blizzard warning, and we were supposed to see gusts up to 60 miles an hour and blowing snow. Yeah, so my family was preparing for that, and I remember I was watching the Rangers and Chicago Blackhawks. They lost 5-2 to that, and that's actually a team we're playing tonight, believe it or not, and we're leading 1-0. And we're currently in the intermission right now. So we lost 5-2 to the Blackhawks that day, and the Rangers went to Arizona before the blizzard got here. I was still feeling pretty ill. My cold was like getting worse by the second. And then I woke up the next morning and I actually started shaking while I was using the bathroom because of how sick I truly was. I was like really coming down with something. I was coughing. I was like sniffling. I began shaking while I was walking. It was like really bad for us. I think other people in my family got sick too. And my situation was just as bad. I was just really sick. And outside the snow was blowing like crazy. It was like poor visibility and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. The snow was like epic. The snow was like blowing all over the place. It was like really coming down out there with snow. It was like blowing like crazy all around my house. And the wind were like just wicked. And I was like having soup while it was getting crazier. I remember I was sitting in the dining room table having soup while it was happening. So, hold on, let me start up.